Thank you for joining us for another round of colorful cooking at home. It is December, and if you are like our families, then some of you may not be feeling the best these days. So, Dr. Gault is here joining us. We're so grateful to have you this morning. She's an
Thank you.
endocrinologist here at Pelham Medical Center with Medical Group of the Carolinas, Diabetes and Endocrinology. And so, we've got a wealth of knowledge and some very diabetes friendly, but very immune system friendly recipes. We've got some good holiday recipes. So she is going to prepare a special treat. You get two today, which we're really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to tasting these for sure. So, Dr. Galt, thank you for joining us. I'm going to
My
turn it
pleasure.
over to you.
Okay.
And we are a little behind, so we apologize, and we're going to get to cooking. So, thank you.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we are going to be making two different recipes today. We're going to be making a curry butternut squash soup that I have been making for over 20 years. And I know that because I got the recipe originally from a friend named Carrie, a different Carrie, who we did some medical training with out in Utah. And I've kind of modified the recipe a little bit to make it fully plant-based. And I've made this for my family, including my two teenagers, for years and years, and they really seem to love it. And then I'm also going to be making a blitzed salad, which is basically a salad that you put sort of in a food processor to cut it into little bitty bits. So I don't know what that thing is doing, Carrie. All right, so to get started, we're going to take two butternut squashes and we're actually going to microwave them. And so I already have one of them cut up. And Carrie, can we get a microwave safe bowl that's going to fit this plus another one? And so I'm going to show you how I cut butternut squash. I mean, everyone does it maybe a little differently, but this is how I do it. I cut off the two ends. Just get a little bit of a workout. And then when you buy butternut squash, you always want to look for the ones that have the biggest necks because that's really where most of the flesh that you're going to eat is. Down here, that's where all the seeds are. And so if it's a really skinny neck and then a big bulb down here, that's not going to give you a lot of food. So you want to find the ones like this. This is a great one. So good job, Carrie.
Okay,
this is
really
good. So then I kind of cut it where the neck meets I call it the bulb. I don't know, the bottom part.
Yeah. We have only tiny microwave safe plates because I get our bowls. So I guess we don't really use the microwave that much. Lots of stainless steel in this food safe kitchen. So I can kind of start some of these. How about that? Come on the other side.
So I'm just sort of like taking my knife and going down the sides. This part's pretty easy.
Do we add any water to this or you really just okay?
Nope, just straight in the microwave. That's 10 minutes, super easy.
All right. Yep. I may do, since it's a smaller bunch, I might do 5 and see how that goes.
And then we just want to chop these into smaller pieces. Now this is all going to get cooked. And so it doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of want all the chunks to be generally about the same size. So
I've seen a lot of people cut butternut squash, and I have to say you make the quickest work of it out of anyone I've seen.
Well, I'm not done yet, so we'll see. So you go down. Again, this is still cutting the neck of the squash. This is where most of your food is going to be.
I'm going to zoom in for a moment just to show everyone a little bit how you're doing that.
And if you get a little piece of skin, the skin actually is technically edible. It's just a little bit tougher. And so usually for this type of a recipe, where we're making a smooth soup, we really wouldn't want much of the peel in there. So, but if you got a tiny bit, it's not going to hurt you or anything. In fact, in roasted butternut squash, some people will actually eat the skin.
Oh.
Which I have. It's okay. It's just a little tough. Okay, so I've got those chunks.
I'm noticing already what a beautiful orange color the butternut squash is. And
very pretty.
one of the things that I've been learning a lot more about are the orange phytonutrients and especially their endocrine functions that they can have. So phytonutrients being the compounds that we find only in plant foods. And so, yeah, a lot of those carotenoids, we think about orange and carrots and being good for our eyes, but in fact, in terms of our immune system, so cancer prevention, but also endocrine modulation, so just helping some of our hormones work better. And kind of going along with that, a lot of our hormones are made from different fat compounds and cholesterol as well. So we'll add a little bit of oil to this recipe, I think, and that's okay because it actually helps the phytonutrients absorb better since they're fat soluble.
Excellent. Yes, the original recipe called for regular butter, but over the years I've transitioned to just using some olive oil for a heart healthier option. So, okay, so what I'm doing here in the bulb part is I'm just, taking my knife and going around and trying to get all the little chunks off the peel. Okay, so now that's all peeled. Now, this is how I do it. Again, everybody does it differently. So I've got the bulb here. And then I'm going to just cut it horizontally. So you can see there's the inside. And then I take my knife and I just go around because I can see kind of on the inside where all the junky flesh is. And you don't really want that in your soup. And so I like doing it this way because I waste very little of the butternut squash. Whereas every other method I've tried, you don't end up with as much food. But see, look how little that is. That's all.
Have you ever roasted and eaten the seeds of the butternut squash?
I have not. I mean, I presume it's just like pumpkin and you should be able to do that. I have not though. How about you?
I've only done spaghetti squash seeds, but yeah, they tasted almost identical to the pumpkin. So I'm guessing in this case, since you're using 2 whole butternut squash, it might be worth it. But sometimes I feel like it's a lot to kind of
it's a lot of work
and get the stringy pieces out and dry them back out and do all that. But maybe for 2, it wouldn't be so bad. All right.
Oh, there we go. Our first round. The microwave. Now, normally you would just put this into one large microwave safe bowl and then microwave it for 10 minutes. As Carrie said, we don't have a really large bowl available right now, and so we're going to do it in batches. But you can see here that I kind of overcut a little bit, and you have a little bit of that kind of fleshy on the inside. It's okay. Again, this is going to end up getting cooked down and then processed and by our handheld little blender for the soup. And so I'm not too worried if I have a little bit of that. I just don't want a lot of it. Like you don't want, any of these like strings or anything.
Yeah. So. Now, is there a texture I'm looking for in terms of do I want to be able to pierce it with a fork already, or it's really just microwaving it 10 minutes to almost pre-cook it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say it probably needs to be a somewhat soft. Here, can I top that off? Is that okay? This.
Okay, great. So I'm going to set these up in.
All right, so we're all done with this.
Microwave.
My trash can.
Turns out it's nice to have 2.
Okay, so while that is in the microwave, then we're going to, looks like we've already got our onion chopped. We're going to go ahead and start warming up our onions. So Carrie, if you can help me with.
It'll be the center one here. And hotter is up at the top.
Okay.
Cooler is at the bottom. It does take a little while to heat up. So,
so we want it on maybe like a medium high. So this is perfect. Like that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pot. Just a little bit. Okay. I don't know. That's very imprecise. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe a little less than a tablespoon. And you could theoretically make this oil free and not use any oil if you chose to do that.
Great.
You could use water, a little splash of water to keep things from sticking. And then once that oil is hot, we'll be adding our chopped onion. And this is 2 medium onions just chopped up. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on the apple. This is 1 Granny Smith apple that we've already peeled. And so I'm just going to chop this. It's a little bit of a soft spot. I'm just going to take that off. Again, kind of big chunks is fine. This is all going to get whipped together. So you do not have to be precise.
Do you think you could use the frozen butternut squash?
You know, that's a good question. I guess you could, as long as it's just butternut squash and they didn't put any kind of like sauce in it.
Yeah.
It may have a slightly different texture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think that that would probably work.
I've seen that more and more, and it's very appealing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's cheaper than the, you can buy it pre-cut in the store fresh, but the frozen bags of it is actually cheaper than the pre-cut that way. So I've only experimented with it maybe once or twice, but just thinking maybe this would be a good recipe to try it in.
That should work. I don't see why I wouldn't. So, all right, we're just waiting for our oil to heat up a little bit. Still feels like it has a little bit of a ways. And then once that heats up, we're going to put in our onions and let them cook for a bit. And then we're going to put in our curry powder. This is like the star of the show here. And so we have 2 teaspoons of curry powder that we will add to the onions and then saute that up. And then once that's cooked for a little bit, then we will add in the butternut squash, which we've microwaved for 10 minutes. And then we'll also throw in our apple. This is a very easy recipe, really. Okay, let's see if it's warm here. And the way I can tell if it's warm is I'm just going to throw in some onion and see if it sizzles, and it is not sizzling. So
that's a good tip. Yeah.
Turn it up.
The stainless steel pots take a little while. I should have thought of that.
Oh, I hear it now.
Yeah, I do. I hear it too.
Okay, excellent. All right. So now I'm just going to add in the onion.
There we go.
Again, that's 2 chopped onions. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the curry powder. I love the smell of curry, so much.
Me too.
And we're going to let this cook for a bit. Get the onions soft before we add the other items. Now, when I make this for my kids, particularly when they were younger, they're teenagers now, but when they were younger, I would sometimes do 2 Granny Smith apples instead of 1 because it will make it a little sweeter. And so that kind of appeals to children more, I think. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's a very forgiving recipe. So.
And you like the Granny Smith versus a sweeter apple?
Yeah, you could use whatever you had on hand, I would imagine. But I think Granny Smith is really nice for this. So I'm going to just clear this out here.
Okay.
And once we get the soup going, then we're going to work on our salad. But it smells really good.
It does.
Too bad the folks at home can't smell this, right?
I know.
There's no
I like
smell
to describe it to them a lot because things in here smell really good a lot. And I always feel bad that that's one thing we can't give them.
I'm going to add just a tiny bit more oil because it does look like it's getting just a wee bit sticky. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the apple.
Perfect. Ooh, look at that.
And so I can see this pot, it's beginning to stick just a little bit. So I'm going to add in a little bit of water. I'm just going to use this bowl here.
Perfect.
Actually, let's
this
see.
Is very hot.
It's fine.
Yeah, down a little bit.
Down,
yeah. Okay. All right. These Okay.
Yeah, if you really wanted to go the extra mile, you could roast the butternut squash in the oven first to get it all caramelized and yummy.
Okay.
But I think with the curry flavor, it's just not totally necessary. And
Yeah.
so this is just so much easier
Yeah.
because you can make this on like a weekday night. It's not too
Yep.
difficult.
Yep.
All right, so let's see. I've got to look at my thing here. All right. We will then need, once we get the butternut squash in, we're going to add our flour. And we have about 4 tablespoons of flour here, and then a pinch of nutmeg, which we have here. And then we will also be adding some chicken stock cubes. So I'll talk about my favorite chicken stock. This is not chicken. Not chicken.
Not chicken.
And so this is the best one I've found that most closely mimics like chicken stock. And I like it because not only does it taste like chicken stock, but it has that that color, that sort of yellowish color of chicken stock. It's very clear. Whereas a lot of the like Better Than Bouillon vegetable, stocks or bouillon cubes tend to make it more of a darker, murky color. And for something like this, you really want it to be lighter. So this is my personal favorite bouillon cube. The key about this bouillon cube, though, is that 1 cube is actually for 2 cups of water. Okay. Or basically the equivalent of 2 cups of stock. And so my recipe originally called for 2 chicken bouillon cubes.
Okay.
But since I'm using this, I just need 1. Oop, it fell out.
Okay.
Because this is equivalent of 2 normal, like those little square stock bouillon cubes. So I buy this at Sprouts.
Perfect.
Unfortunately, I've not found it at Publix. I wish they would start selling it, but this is totally plant-based. Of course, like all bouillon cubes, I will say it is high in sodium, of course, but we generally will not be adding, we're going to taste it and see if we need to add extra salt, but many times we can just get plenty of salt from the bouillon. We don't have to add extra salt.
Which is kind of convenient in the end.
Pardon?
Kind of convenient in the end to not actually have to add anything else.
Let's see. Oh, is this ready to go?
Yes. Okay. So that is 2 of the little bowls. And we're working our way through these other ones.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give that a stir.
All right. Let me see.
Looking good. So I'm going to just cut this bouillon cube thing in half. It's a little tough to cut, but there we go. Put one aside. And then this is what we'll be using. Okay, let's see. How are they coming along?
Good. Needs a little more time.
Gonna add a little more water in here.
That 10 minutes seems to be exactly what these needed, even in multiple small, tiny bowls.
That's funny.
All right, so this checks this one. So have you always liked to cook, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not really.
I mean, not every day.
Some
days I come home from work and I'm like, oh,
sure.
so tired.
Yes.
Last thing I want to do is cook right now. And on those nights we do FFY, which means fend for yourself.
I like it.
It means you gotta be creative, find some sort of leftovers in the refrigerator, or do something like that.
Some leftovers. So this is a good recipe, it seems like, to make some leftovers.
Right.
Or how many?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot. It makes a lot.
This one is good. Throw this in.
Oh, and this one is almost done. There we go.
They're very hot, so be careful.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Can I borrow your?
Yes.
Would you mind throwing that in here for me?
I will. Okay. Let me see if they're done.
Well, Mary gets that. I'm going to go ahead and add, this is 4 tablespoons of just regular flour. So I'm going to just kind of dump that in. And that's going to help the soup get sort of, what's the word? Creamy, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, because it's not really a roux necessarily.
No, not really, because we didn't add that much oil. We added a little bit of oil, but not that much. But you do want to cook the flour before you start adding other stuff in, because otherwise it tastes like raw flour, which doesn't taste particularly pleasant. You could, if you had like whole wheat pastry flour, which is basically whole wheat flour, but it's ground up really, really, really finely. And that can be used as a substitute for all-purpose flour. That would be fine here.
Okay, I almost brought that, and then I wasn't
Uh-huh.
quite sure
Yeah,
if it
it
would
would be fine. I think that'd be
interfere with the texture or
don't
anything
think
like
so.
that.
So I'm just basically cooking this until I cannot see any more flour.
Okay.
And could you grab me maybe a little bit of the nutmeg? We're gonna just
Sure.
do a pinch of
All
nutmeg.
right. I'm gonna smell this first too. Oh man. I like nutmeg a lot,
I do too.
although you don't want too much, I guess.
Yeah. I like all the
So,
warming spices.
yeah.
Cinnamon, the nutmeg, and
Is that too much or
I'd probably do a little bit less than that.
a little
Yeah.
less?
Mhm.
Okay. About that.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, so we've got a little nutmeg in there. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our liquid. And
I
then
thought the
just let
nutmeg
it
was
cook.
a very interesting addition to it because normally I feel like you see
Mhm.
the curry powder kind of by itself, and that might be it, maybe a little extra cayenne or something. But I liked the idea of the nutmeg and the apple and the
It's
butternut
very fall.
squash.
It's very fall
Yes, it
flavor,
is.
right? So now I'm just kind of crumbling up my bouillon cube. Uh-oh, I think I got a tiny bit of the foil.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. That, and then that was what was that? 2 cups of almond milk.
Yep.
And then we're going to do 3 cups of water. Would you
Okay.
mind filling that up
Sure.
for 3 cups of water? And let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I've made this a gazillion times, but still just want to make sure.
And that was
yeah.
unsweetened,
Unsweetened, unflavored
vanilla,
almond milk.
or sorry,
Not
not vanilla, almond milk. Yeah.
Vanilla would be a little weird, but yep, totally plain. I mean, you can also use soy milk, just any unflavored, unsweetened plant milk of your choice. Almond milk is usually what we have in my house.
Yep. Okay, here comes 3 cups of water.
Okay,
And
great. And we've already got our bouillon in there, bouillon
All
cube
right.
thing.
That's
So
nice.
now
You
we're
don't even have to dissolve the
No.
bouillon in the water first and do
No.
that process. You can just throw
No.
it all in
Just
there.
throw it in. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Just throw it in. Super easy. Now we're just going to bring this up to a boil.
Okay.
And then turn it down, put the lid on it, let it simmer.
All right.
So if you want to go ahead and take care of that
Sure.
for me, and then I'll move on to the salad. Actually, let me throw a little bit of salt in there before we close that up. Let's see, how does this one work? You just
Or pepper.
oh, pepper. Not salt, pepper. Okay, that looks good.
All right. Stir that up one more time.
I'm gonna give my hands a rinse.
Even that smelled good. All right. So while that starts to heat up, we will flip the script here and start on the second recipe. And then hopefully by the time we're done that one, we'll be ready for actually immersion blending this soup up, and we can go from there.
Let's see, I'm just gonna set this here. Okay, so these are our ingredients. Let me turn this here. For our salad. Got one more here.
And then.
So this is called a blitzed salad. And I like it because it's a way of sneaking in a lot of vegetables into like one forkful. So even if I got my kids to just take like, 4 bites, it's a tremendous amount of vegetables.
Yeah.
And so, and actually I'm going to give them credit. They actually are very good about eating their veggies. But still, not a lot of people are accustomed to eating raw Brussels sprouts.
Right.
But this is going to be raw Brussels sprouts. And you could use any cruciferous vegetable. So that basically is like cabbage, kale.
Okay.
What else am I forgetting? The Brussels sprouts.
You do like cauliflower, I think, or?
You could. The texture would be a little different. Broccoli, I've used broccoli before. But I love using green. You want to use something kind of big and chunky, like cabbage, something that is going to hold up to being grated.
Yep.
And being processed down. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Maybe.
This thing, I was going to say, There's a very specific way.
I know. This is
I
a
do
little
this
different than
every
mine.
time. I should know. All right. A lot of safety features built in here
All right.
for this big thing. So let me
You
see.
think that's going to work?
I know these two go on the opposite sides.
Oh, they do. Okay.
So I think, but yeah, they have to. This has to go right here.
While she's working on that, I'm just going to take the apple and chop it up. Now this, for the soup, we peeled the apple because I want it to be nice and creamy. But for this, you do not need to peel the apple. You can just leave. This is also a Granny Smith apple. And so I usually leave the peel on.
Okay, let me try this.
And again, just kind of big chunks is fine because we're going to put it into a food processor, make the food processor do all the work for us. That sounded very promising. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was like, why do I do this every time? Okay.
I think we're going to see. I want to see what these look like if we grate them. So we're gonna try that. Let's see. Large.
You should be able to pull that right up. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to throw in a couple and we're just going to make sure that we like the way it looks when we process it.
That made quick work of it.
I love it.
Wow.
It's really fun, actually.
Oh.
Kind of just.
Yeah, I really like the idea of this salad too. Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
Maybe Santa can bring me one of these, man. That's what we all need is just a food grade or food service grade food processor.
That's right.
Wow.
Now that one looks like it's. There we go.
But and that's part of the reason I chose Brussels sprouts. I'm always looking for other ways to eat Brussels sprouts and I like them raw, but what's going to come in the dressing was very interesting to me. The different pops of color, I think, is just, I mean, we call this colorful cooking at home for a reason. So
I'm going to let you figure out how to draw that. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, and if we can get a really big bowl.
Yes, that's what I meant to get you.
I think I saw, is that one over there?
Yep, I have one right here, or maybe clear. Think that's big enough?
Yeah, I think that'll be big enough.
Okay,
yeah, let's try it.
Or we can do the bigger
I am notorious though for like not.
You know what? Right, that's a good. This is a good discussion point.
My visual spatial skills are not the best.
And also, when we're cooking, it's just better to go big. And maybe we'll put them both here just in case we need both. And I'll get you something to stir it with.
So I'm just going to put that in there. And see, there's like one or two little chunks that didn't quite get processed, but that's okay. All right, now I'm not as familiar with this one. This is a little different than mine at home, but okay, if I want to pop it off.
Yeah, it's just,
there we go. Okay, and now I'm going to dump it. That's kind of our first round. Uh-oh, look, some came out. I'm making a mess.
It's all right.
It's just like at home.
Yep.
Okay, so we did it that way. And now we're just going to keep grating. This is called the blitz salad. So we're just going to, you can, if you don't want to have it grated, you certainly could slice it. If you don't have a food processor, you could definitely just use your knife skills and just slice it really, really, really thin. But you want to get it as thin as possible. All right, Carrie, how did you do this?
Or a box grater, maybe?
Or a box grater would work.
Okay.
Oh, is that it? You just.
Yep.
Does it need to pop or?
It should. Let's see. Yep.
Now, while she's fiddling with that, this is an organic carrot. So I think Carrie and I may do this the same. If it's organic carrots, then we don't bother to peel them. Particularly, I mean, if you're going to do it where you're going to see the outside, then maybe you do just for aesthetics. But if it's organic, I generally don't bother peeling it. I just wash it really good. And then that saves you some time in the kitchen, which I like.
Unless you're messing with your food processors. Okay.
Is there like little chunks of food in there?
Well, that's what I'm wondering if that is part of the problem. But really? Maybe.
That's it.
I don't know. Maybe I'll rinse it off and then just.
Oh, you know what? Let me do this.
See.
Run my hand around the edge.
Yeah, and I'm going to do this, and then we still need the, let's see.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Yeah. That's
All food processors are a little different and slightly fussy
yeah.
in my experience. Come on.
Like
Well,
I think the base is on, right? Yeah.
let's put this in and see if it.
It's very
Nope.
like very safety oriented too.
Super safety.
So
Yeah. No.
if everything
All right,
is
let's
not exactly the way it's supposed to,
Yeah, pop it off and we'll try it again.
Okay.
Start it again.
Start again. Is that clicking in? Okay, yeah, that clicked
That looks
in.
right. Mhm.
Okay. Now, and this should just go like this. Well, I can go get a box grater, so that might be what we end up doing. I don't know. My goodness. That is really.
That is very
Oh,
strange.
you know what? I see what it is. This is not lining up somehow with our top there. Is what it looks like. See that?
Yeah.
How could that have happened in?
I don't know.
No, maybe it doesn't need to. Hmm.
All right, while she's doing that, let me just check on our soup. Oh, we are boiling away. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit because we just kind of want it to simmer. Smells good. There you go.
Okay, I did this part, but now, it won't let me do the bottom. Let me see. All right, I might just take it all apart and rinse it.
Rinse it. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
If
Let's
that
do
is part of our problem,
Yeah.
because
I'm going to clean all this off. All right, while we're doing that, let me tell you about one of the ingredients is going to be quinoa. And so usually I make quinoa in my Instant Pot and I make a lot of it. And then I put it into some kind of like, Ziploc bag or reusable bag. And then I put, I don't measure it. I don't know, maybe like a cup or so in each one. And then I put them in the freezer. And I make sure before I put it in the freezer, hopefully you can see this, but I squish it like this and I make it as flat as possible so that it's really skinny and flat. And that way, and I freeze it like that. So it's like pancake style. And then that way, once it's frozen, you could actually line up multiple packets and you could do this with brown rice. You could do it with millet, any of those whole grains. And the great thing about that is that even once they're frozen, if you just need a little bit, like if I'm just making something for myself and I don't want to use all of this, you can open it up and break it off, almost like you'd break off a chunk of a chocolate bar and pop that in the microwave for no more than probably 60 seconds, and then it's ready to go. And so I love that because it saves me a lot of time. So
yeah, that's
quinoa
a great
is already
tip.
cooked.
Okay.
All right, we're going to cross our fingers and hope that this works. There you go.
Okay.
That's promising.
Yes. It has a very distinct, did I put it on the right side?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care if it's fine or medium grading. It's fine.
Let's see.
There you
Yep.
go. That looks
All right.
good.
And
Moment of truth. That sounded really promising.
wow, this is the most finicky food
awesome.
processor
Okay,
I've
great.
ever had the pleasure of creating a blitz salad with.
That's right.
So
I'm just going to put in the carrots and the apple, and then we're just going to let it roll. Would you like to do the honors?
sure.
Go for it.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Isn't that very satisfying?
It is very satisfying, especially after everything we just went through.
Oh, I lost that.
Got it.
I'm just going to take the other of our.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Okay, go for it. There we are.
Wow.
Oh, and we have the onion too. So hang on.
Okay.
I don't want to take this thing
I
apart
know,
until
yeah.
we're not taking any more chances.
I mean, I agree, safety first in all things, but man,
But,
it
oh
just
my
didn't want to
gosh.
be dirty.
I
That's all it
mean,
was.
It's crazy.
It just
Yeah.
wanted to be squeaky clean.
All right. Now I cannot remember if it's a full onion or half an onion. I don't know.
These have
You
been
remember?
pretty strong, so
Yeah,
maybe we
let's do
err on the
half.
side of
Okay.
caution.
So again,
All right,
here we go.
ready?
Blitz salad. We're blitzing.
Ooh,
Perfect.
that purple in there is already very pretty.
Okay. So there'll still be a little bit chunks on top, and that's okay.
All right.
Just toss that. All
Do you
right, now
need
which way does
are
it
you going to
go?
mix the salad dressing in a separate bowl first?
I was actually going to do it in here.
Oh,
If we can get it unlocked in the
wow.
box.
Okay. Yep.
All right, help me out. There we go.
Right.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of.
I'm just going to go ahead and put these pieces because they're already chopped. Technology is
Yep.
great when it works.
So, all right, I hate to take this off, but I'm going to have to take it off.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm nervous. So we're just going to dump it in our bowl. Okay. Just trying to clean it off because we learned that from our last adventure.
Let's say. Okay. I'm just going to.
Oh, that's not right. That's not right. I can tell that's not right. Holy moly, this thing is fussy.
Go ahead and rinse this.
All right, you have the magic touch.
Yes.
Okay, there's that.
Yep. And so then we need the blade.
The regular blade for this part. Yep.
So,
but you want to switch to your regular blade.
Okay.
Hopefully that one will be a little more stable. Yep, a little easier. Awesome. And then we're going to make our salad dressing right in there. Maybe. Maybe we'll make our salad dressing in there.
Okay, that's cool. I hadn't thought about just food processing the dressing that way.
Yeah, just because you already have it out and it's dirty.
That's true.
I hate extra dishes. I don't like extra dishes. So to review, we used approximately 1 pound of cruciferous vegetable, and we're using Brussels sprouts. And then we have 1 large carrot, and then we had that 1 apple, and about half a cup of onion. We're using red onion here. Then we're also going to be using some dried fruit. In this case, we're going to use some craisins. We're going to add those. We don't shred that. We're going to add that in just a moment. And then we're also going to be adding some sunflower seeds. But we're going to make our dressing first. And our dressing consists, it's very easy. It's basically 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and Dijon mustard. And Carrie already has this for me here. Oh, I see. Each one of these is a tablespoon.
Yes,
oh, how cute.
Exactly. That's about all they fit.
And you just like come home and like get stuff all ready for me before I come home to make dinner, and you could have it all, you know, measured out. That would be super helpful. I would appreciate that.
It is. And I think that's one of the least, I feel like that is one of the least fun things about cooking.
Yeah.
But it really, if you start by what we call mise en place, so sitting everything in its place, when you're actually doing all of this, it does make it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I don't know what this thing is doing.
Are we fussing with it again? Yeah, you know, we don't even have to have it.
I can go grab a whisk.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. A bowl and a whisk, and we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. It'll be fine. We'll do the old-fashioned way.
All right.
This thing is not our friend today. It is not our friend.
A bowl.
Okay.
And then we've got some.
So this looks like our rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons.
And I'll go grab a whisk.
Apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons. We have our Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons. Okay. And we have a little bit of sugar. And it depends on if you are going to be using something like craisins, which craisins already have sugar added. So you may want to cut down a little bit on the sugar. Also, if you had like extra apples, then you may want to cut down a little bit on the sugar. But like if you didn't use apples, then maybe extra sugar. So I'm probably going to use most, but not all of this sugar because I just don't think we need quite that much. Okay. So I'm just going to whisk it up.
I just had a thought.
Looking good. And
you know what? That's what it was. It wanted me to put the top in.
Oh, to finally snap into place.
Yep.
See, there you go. Well, we learned something today.
Yep.
So
Look
now
at
we're
that.
just stirring this up. You can do it the old-fashioned way.
There we
It's
go.
fine.
Just as fast.
And then now we're just going to mix it up. And Carrie, if you could, we can start turning this on, using our, what am I trying to say?
Immersion blender.
Our immersion
Okay.
blender. I could not come up with
Perfect.
that word. For our
Yes.
soup. It is definitely ready.
All right.
Turn that off.
Perfect.
So here is our blitzed salad. I think that's a key for
Ooh.
anyone who doesn't like salad. Try to get them to, if you cut the ingredients into teensy tiny pieces,
Yeah.
they seem to like it a lot more. I don't know
Yes.
why, but it's much more, I don't know, pleasant or
yes.
acceptable to people who aren't
Absolutely
really
in
into
that
salad.
camp. I feel like, especially when you've got a couple of these sweeter ingredients going
Mhm.
on too, that
Yeah.
it just cuts the bitterness a lot more when they're raw, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very excited to try that.
So I'm not measuring. I usually, for this salad, I usually
Yeah.
don't measure at all. I just sort of
Zoom in for everyone
eyeball.
so that they can see how beautiful that is.
Now let's see. This will probably need some salt. So I'm looking around where our salt is. Oh, it's over here. Salt and pepper. Okay, so there's some pepper. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is quite fancy.
It is.
Can I? Oh, you didn't see
I'm
that.
zoomed in.
You didn't see that. A little bit of salt. Okay.
Salt is
And we're gonna
helpful,
mix it up and taste it.
especially, yep, in these raw dishes because it does bring out the water of the vegetables, which can also cut the bitterness a little bit. So we don't necessarily need to avoid salt entirely. We just want to use it in a mindful way to make the most out of, I'd obviously much rather somebody get a pinch of salt in a salad like this versus from a bag of potato chips. So
I forgot almost.
our
Our
quinoa.
And that really helps the salad to be more of a substantial, item and kind of helps fill you up.
Yeah, it's almost meal worthy with some seeds. So a
Yeah.
little fat and protein there. All the veggies. We've got our fruit. We've got our grain. So we pretty much made
Pretty
a
much hit all the
whole plate right there
Yep.
too.
All right, I'd love for you to come and taste this and tell me what you think.
I
and
would
tell
love
me if
to
I need to
taste it.
adjust anything. And then while she's doing that, we're going to do our immersion blender. So this is a stick blender, super convenient. Just have to make sure you don't lift it
What?
too high up because then it goes.
It's
you
I
all
have
over.
learned that way.
Not that I've ever done that before. But yeah.
Wow, that's really just. All right, here I go. Oh man.
Do you think it needs
That's
anything?
delicious.
You like it?
I do.
Do you really feel like you're eating a bunch of raw Brussels sprouts?
No.
Is it kind of hidden? It's like
I'm glad
secret.
we only did half of the red onion because
Yeah, is it pretty powerful?
everyone, it's probably a good thing now that you're not in the kitchen with me. That's really good.
Good.
And I have a
Glad you
feeling that this is one of
It's-
those things that once it sits for a
Yeah.
day,
Yes. It's much better like the next day.
it's beautiful.
And so it can just go in the fridge.
I am, for the sake of,
Where are we for time? Oh, we're doing pretty good on time.
yeah,
almost.
we're doing well. For the sake of plating purposes is what I was
Yes.
going to say. Beauty.
Yes.
I'm going to put a little of this into this bowl. And then we'll have another bowl for our soup. Right there. And then we'll show you our finishing touches. But I mean, together, this is a great meal as well. So And one of the things I've been doing more is counting all of the different plant foods that I've got in a meal. So let's see.
Oh,
in
wow.
The salad alone, we had,
That's a lot.
yes, Brussels sprouts, cranberries, sunflower seeds, carrots, apple, quinoa,
Red onion.
red onion.
I think that's it. Is that it? I think that was it.
So we have 7 there.
Oh, and you can also add some herbs to that.
Ooh,
You know,
okay.
like you could put in parsley or
Okay.
whatever you want to put in it.
Yeah.
I just didn't have any readily available, so.
Oh, that's okay. That would be good. And then we've got butternut squash, sweet onion, which these are different colors of onions. And because they're different colors, they actually have different phytonutrients, different health promoting compounds only found in those plants. So we do get to count those as different because what gives that red onion, that red pigment, that beautiful color is actually a completely different phytonutrient than what we might find. And with that, you actually find variations in vitamins and minerals too. So that's kind of neat as well. What else did we put in there?
Apple.
Apple. So we already had apple in here
And then we have
too.
spices.
We do, yes.
Curry
So the
and
curry
nutmeg.
powder and the nutmeg would count.
Mhm.
I've lost count, but we're over 10. So,
A lot.
all right, yes. I didn't get you a ladle or something to.
Can you grab
spoon
me
that
a
out with.
spoon? I'm just going to test this and make sure it
Yes.
tastes right.
There are
Make
a
sure
bunch
we
of
don't need to
spoons
adjust.
right here, and
Okay.
then I will go grab a ladle to spoon it out.
So it's looking nice and creamy. It's super hot. Hopefully I'm not going to burn my mouth. It's good. It does need some more salt, so I'm going to add a little bit of salt after I wash my hands.
All right. So while we are finishing up plating this, if anyone has any questions, comments, feedback, please throw that into the question and answer piece right there. Perfect. And Dr. Gault will address them. Remember, she is an endocrinologist. So if you have any questions related to some of that as well that are just more generic, not necessarily personalized questions, please feel free to ask her some of those while you've got her in this space. And let me think.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
And we were going to garnish with.
Okay.
You could garnish this with anything like
so
something green, like parsley would be really pretty. We have a few of sunflower seeds from our salad.
I keep calling them pumpkin, but pumpkin seeds would go great too.
So there
All
we
right, so I'm going to move these here in the center, and I'm going to zoom in so everyone can check that out. Hopefully you've also learned a little bit about adaptability in the kitchen space. All right, there we go. So look how beautiful they are right there. This was a curried butternut squash soup and a blitzed salad. And I'm just like, blitzed is just a fun word to say. So even if our food processor wasn't very fun. All right. We really just have some thanks and the sentiment that others would like a food processor for Christmas too, and an appreciation for going with the flow, because that's kind of what cooking is sometimes too. So it's nice. I mean, you don't have to have everything, and in that case, sometimes, and even if you have something, it might not work out the way that you intended to. So again, I'm going to check one more time, but we really appreciate you joining us. Next month in January, we're going to look forward to Dr. Keith D. He is a clinical researcher here at Gibbs Cancer Center who is going to step into the kitchen to start us off for January. He's undecided on a recipe yet, so you'll have to stay tuned, but we've got a date and time picked out for that. So I hope you'll join us there. And anything else that you want to mention about food and health and anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay, very
Thank you
good.
for having me. It was a
Yes,
lot of fun.
absolutely. Thank you so much. So happy holidays, everyone, and enjoy some good food with your families and your friends. And we wish you well throughout the rest of December and into January. So stay well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.